North Korea isn't just a dictatorship, it is the only country on earth where simply leaving without permission is legally treason, where a 2-year-old child was sentenced to life in prison because his parents owned a smuggled Bible, and where, since 2020, the entire country has been turned into something terrifying. The biggest prison on the planet, with 25 million people locked inside. In this video, we're going to see how North Korea became almost impossible to escape from, and why that's now truer than ever before. North Korea is almost universally ranked as having the worst human rights record in the world. All men are forced into around 10 years of military service. Free speech doesn't exist. Every TV channel, radio station, and newspaper is owned by the state. Amnesty International estimated in 2017 that around 200,000 political prisoners were being held in camps across the country, facing forced labor, torture, and often execution. And punishment doesn't stop with the person who broke the law. If one family member is caught with something forbidden, a Bible, a foreign movie, a USB stick, their children can be imprisoned for life as well. Foreigners who enter the country are heavily controlled too. Every step is monitored, every hotel and tour is staged. Breaking the rules, even by something as simple as allegedly taking a propaganda poster from a wall, can get you arrested, as happened to American student Otto Warmbier, who was sentenced to 15 years of hard labor and returned home in a vegetative state, dying shortly after. This is the level of control inside North Korea, but escaping that control is even harder. Part 2, the geography of a prison. North Korea's geography makes it the perfect cage. To the east is the Sea of Japan, to the west is the Yellow Sea. Boats are rare, tightly controlled, and the North Korean Navy patrols the coasts, especially near South Korea. The obvious place to run to is South Korea. It's far richer and more developed. And crucially, the South Korean government considers all Koreans on the peninsula, including North Koreans, to be its own citizens. If you make it to South Korea, you're automatically treated as a South Korean citizen. That's an enormous incentive to escape. But between the two lies the DMZ, the demilitarized zone, which is ironically the most militarized border in the world. Lines of walls, fences, and barbed wire. Around 2 million landmines. About 750,000 North Korean soldiers within 100 kilometers on one side, and about 450,000 South Korean soldiers plus 20,000 US troops on the other. North Korean border guards have orders to shoot anyone trying to cross. Very few people have ever managed to escape directly through the DMZ. It's basically suicidal. So most escape attempts historically have looked north instead. Part 3, the old escape route. China and beyond. North Korea's northern border with China is long and mountainous. In the past, people could cross the Yalu and Tumen rivers when they froze in winter or became shallow in summer, but China and Russia don't treat North Koreans as refugees. If caught, they are sent back to face prison or execution. So the real goal was to cross into China, then reach a safe country like Mongolia or Thailand, which would deport them to South Korea. It was extremely dangerous, but thousands still tried. Part 4, Famine, Smugglers, and the Peak of Escapes. Escapes truly exploded in the 1990s. After the collapse of the Soviet Union, the USSR had been North Korea's main financial and trade partner. When it collapsed, aid and cheap imports stopped. North Korea had little money and almost no access to fertilizer or modern farm equipment. Less than 20% of its land is even arable. Then came droughts and floods. All of this triggered the worst famine in the country's history. Because of the regime's secrecy, nobody knows the true death toll, but estimates range from 300,000 to 3.5 million people between 1994 and 1998. Desperate for food and survival, people increasingly looked for ways out. A network of smugglers and brokers developed across the northern border. They smuggled in food and medicine. And they smuggled in foreign media, South Korean dramas, Western movies, and books, on tapes, discs, and later micro SD cards. And for a high price, they helped people escape. By the early 2000s, thousands of North Koreans were escaping every year, almost all through China along these routes. In 2009, escapes peaked. 2,914 North Koreans managed to reach South Korea, the highest annual number in history. For a moment, it looked like the regime might not be able to fully control the flow of information and people forever. Then, everything changed. When Kim Jong-un took power in 2011, he moved to crush defections. He installed signal jammers, monitored phone calls, and deployed more fences. At the same time, China and Russia tightened their policies, making it easier to track and arrest defectors. As risk went up, broker prices soared from $2,000 to $4,000 to $8,000 to over $13,000. By 2019, successful escapes fell by half. And then in 2020, North Korea turned the entire country into something even darker. In January 2020, North Korea completely sealed its borders, officially to keep COVID out, but using it as the perfect excuse to finish isolating the country. Buffer zones were declared along the border with shoot-to-kill orders. Satellite imagery shows hundreds of kilometers of new walls and fences. Internally, travel between provinces was restricted, and the Reactionary Ideology Act criminalized foreign media with punishments up to public execution. Defections plummeted to the lowest numbers ever recorded. Just 229 in 2020, then 63 in 2021, and 67 in 2022. North Korea is now a digital and physical prison, with an entire nation locked inside.